What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. Something I briefly mentioned in the video related to my program, linked in the description, is the nuances regarding rep ranges. For me, rep ranges are there for a reason. I can't help but cringe at guys that still believe that we should only work in the 6 to 12 or 8 to 12 rep range. In reality, low reps of 4 to 6 will offer many benefits that reps of 6 to 10 or 10 to 15 simply do not have. And the opposite is also true. The main victim in this discussion is often the higher rep range of 15 plus reps, because most lifters won't deny that you will build muscle in the lower rep department, but will gladly recommend avoiding higher reps,
No, I like it. This is brilliant. But I like this.
since they only build endurance and not muscle, or it is not challenging as a rep range.
Pathetic.
Of course, we know that this notion is false. The general hypertrophy rep range is agreed upon by most lifters to be anything in between 5 and 30 reps. But I'm going to take it a step further. I dare to claim that with higher reps, as long as you take your sets close to failure or to failure, the muscle growth results will be the same as with more moderate rep ranges. So for me, as long as it is higher than 5, it is fair game.
FBI, open up!
In this video, I will tell you the main benefits of going high reps in terms of direct hypertrophy, i.e. the factors that will directly incentivize muscle growth, and indirect hypertrophy. Also, I will mention how to program for higher reps. For the direct means, we have three main points. The first one is metabolite accumulation and pump. The second one is better mind-muscle connection. And the third one is what I decided to call stimulus granulometry. Let's go one by one. When doing an exercise, our muscle cells are working hard to produce the ATP and ion signals necessary to cause muscle contraction. As the set progresses and we get closer and closer to failure, our cells struggle to produce energy by the regular aerobic pathways and starts activating anaerobic pathways to produce energy. As these processes take over, we start seeing some accumulation of what we call metabolites, the main one being lactic acid. These metabolites that are accumulated in the muscle cells are in themselves an added stimulus or signal for muscle growth. Why am I saying all of this? Is it any different with higher than more moderate reps? Am I turning into Milo Wolf, minus the pompousness?
No!
When performing high reps, energy requirements go up per set, and therefore this lactic acid accumulation is heightened. That's why you get that burn feeling when performing high rep sets. On top of that, another phenomenon that occurs in tandem is the increased blood flow to the area, leading to more muscle cell swelling, which, as you guessed it, is another muscle growth signal in itself. In caveman terms, Gronk go ooga booga for longer, Gronk get burned, Gronk happy, and Gronk bigger. Another factor to mention that is often dismissed by lifters is the mind-muscle connection. You probably noticed that as you reach the intermediate stage, your volume demands are higher than before, and you would expect it to be the same as you get closer and closer to the advanced stage. But this couldn't be further from the truth. What we often see is a bell curve in which you reach a peak of volume at the intermediate stage, and then as you become more advanced, your volume goes down. Why is that? As you become more experienced, two things happen. The first one is that the absolute load of an exercise increases, giving more net stimulus and fatigue than when you were weaker. That's why, at that stage, you need to focus on more out of less weight variations and not do general exercises. But at the same time, something else occurs. Your mind-muscle connection improves since it's easier to connect with a bigger muscle, and not only the mechanical tension increases, but you're able to direct that tension to the target muscle more efficiently, thus needing less sets. If you want to achieve this set efficiency and also make sure that you're hitting a certain area, then switching to higher reps will allow you to focus more on using the target muscle. For this one, I'm gonna use an analogy. Credit to Basement Bodybuilding for this one. Imagine you have a jar. No, not that kind of jar. This jar, you're going to fill it with rocks. Stay with me now. You're going to fill the jar with big rocks until no more fit. Once you do that, you can see that there are empty spots in the jar that the big rocks couldn't fill. What do you do next? Well, you take smaller sized rocks and place them there. Now there are smaller empty spots. So then you use pebbles, and then once again, the spots are very small. Once you reach that stage, you add gravel or sand to completely cover every spot available and filling the jar to the rim. In this analogy, the bigger rocks are overloading type movements with a low rep range, and as the rocks get smaller, the rep range increases. The sand is the high rep sets. What does this mean in layman's terms? That if your goal is to have a complete training, you need to be exploiting all the potential sources of stimulus. And this includes low reps, which will give you a big but general stimulus, high reps, which will give you a more directed stimulus, and then moderate rep ranges, which are in the middle. So to make it even more clear in caveman terms, Gronk pick up big rock, Gronk get big stone power, then pick up smaller rock for small rock power, Gronk happy, and Gronk bigger. In this one, we have joint safety, conditioning, strength curve smoothing, and accessibility. If you have ever experienced tendonitis, you probably know that the best way to treat it is not to stop all kinds of movements of the joint, but to actually increase blood flow to the area whilst not irritating it any further. This increased blood flow helps repair and strengthen the tissues. So not only do you fix the issue, but you also prevent it. By that logic, we want to avoid short, overloading sets and focus on longer and lighter sets to promote more movement and less irritation. How can we do this? You guessed it, high reps. High reps will help you as prehab, rehab, warm-ups, and deloads for the joints. Feel shoulder pain, high rep push-ups and rows. Feel elbow pain, high rep curls and push-downs. In this regard, high reps are goated. Another aspect that will indirectly result in more gains is conditioning. We all know that sometimes cardiovascular demands or the burn will prevent us from reaching failure. This can be solved with the same thing that exposes these weaknesses: high reps, be it high reps, high sets, and short rest times like a prisoner-style workout, or something resembling German volume training, or regular sets of 3 of 30. High reps will condition you and improve your pain tolerance so you can get the most not only from high rep sets, but from the moderate and low reps too. Have you ever tried doing heavy lateral raises? Have you seen how awkward it is? This is because of strength curves. When doing heavy laterals, the bottom doesn't have a lot of tension, but because of the concentric nature of the movement, once you reach the top, the amount of tension you get is disproportionately higher. How can we fix it? Well, the answer is, again, high reps. They allow for a smoother strength curve since there's no sudden wing jump when you get to the highest tension point, since although the relative tension between the sticking point and the deloaded point might be the same, in absolute terms, the difference is reduced. That's why going higher reps in lateral raises, face pulls, rows, and other concentric focus movements is a common practice. I want you to realize that by allowing for high reps, you open a lot of doors to previously discarded movements because they were too easy. This mainly applies to calisthenics, being able to reintroduce push-ups, bodyweight pull-ups, and invert rows to give some examples. So this will allow for a higher amount of exercise variation. Finally, for programming, we have multiple options, but I will give you my own personal favorites. The first one is program high reps at the end of your session, after your heavier sets to finish up the workout. The second one is to use them as warm-ups and working sets simultaneously to prepare the joints for heavier or more taxing movements. For example, high rep pushdowns before extensions. The third one is to undulate the rep ranges and have low rep days, moderate rep days, and lighter rep days. And the last one is to do them on off days, quote unquote, as a way of accumulating extra tonnage. In conclusion, high reps are a useful tool that will allow you to maximize gains in multiple ways. So make sure to include them.
Do it!